أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الله الكبير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الله الكبير. So we made it another week by God's grace, and so we are privileged today that we have this opportunity again that we can freely worship God alone, and nobody is going to interfere in this connection that we have with God, and it is a huge and humbling privilege that God has given us. And so we should always remember this, that this opportunity is unique, and God has chosen us to guide us and to make sure that we are on His path. And so He has given us another chance, another opportunity today that we are able to do this, and we are still willing to do this. And this is a huge honor that we have today. And so we should remember it, and we should be grateful to God for this huge favor that He bestowed upon us. Again, these are not by accident. This is by divine design and providence, and according to God's wisdom and His kindness and His generosity towards us. And so we are indebted to Him eternally, and we ask Him to force us to be grateful to Him. And as I said, it's a God-like quality, gratefulness, and so we are so indebted to God that we cannot be grateful enough. And so we ask Him to make us, to force us to be grateful to Him. And it is a honor really to be here today. So what I wanted to do, a lot of people complain that, you pray to God, God would not respond to them. And that is not true, okay? So we go to the case of children of Israel and Moses, and Moses said, "Oh, my people, if you're faithful to God, then you shall put your trust in Him if you are peace offerers." Okay? So we see that the people who followed Moses, their way of life was peace offering. Okay? So the word here is in kuntum muslimin. Okay? If you are peace offerers. That Muslim or Muslim means somebody who offers peace. Okay? And we see that the remnants of that, the way that this group of people actually greet each other. When they greet each other, they offer peace. Okay? So this is the remnants of that people have forgotten. Okay? People thought this is some kind of community or something that's supposed to be following this, and they have a name. That's not true. The name is this. It's right here. A peace offerer. Somebody who offers peace. Okay? So every time we see somebody, we offer peace. That's the first gesture or the first utterance that comes. You offer peace. Okay? So that's what he did. Okay? So he said, if you are peace offerers, that's what you should do. You should put your trust in God. They therefore said, in God we trust. Okay? قَالُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ تَوَكَّلْنَا. They therefore said, in God we trust. Our Lord, do not make us a test case for the people who commit injustice. Okay. Once you do that, once you put your trust in God, by the way, this is unique to the Quran, and it happens to be on the back of the greenback. Okay. So Wikipedia, until 2019, they had this as it has actually mentioned verbatim in the Quran. Then they changed it. Okay? And then they said verbatim from the Quran, which is true. If you just cut and paste this part, ala Allah tawakkalna, and put in Google search, Google Translate, it immediately says, in God we trust. Okay? Wikipedia changed their name due to some circumstances, okay, that a phrase like this has closely mentioned, not verbatim, closely mentioned, okay, in the Quran. Okay. Well, the way they said it, as though Quran copied it from the national motto of the United States. Okay. So somebody didn't want to say that a phrase in the Quran is actually the national motto of the United States, but God brings out the truth, regardless of what the other people do. Okay. So anyway, so here it is. Okay. And the interesting thing is that it's actually uttered by the children of Israel well before Muhammad was there. This is the story of 3,700 years ago. God narrates us to us 1084, 1085. These are the story of 3,700 years ago, not 1,400 years ago. Okay? God just narrates us what they said. So here we go. Okay? And deliver us from with your mercy from the disbelieving people. Okay? So this was their. And then God says, we inspired Moses and his brother to take residence in Egypt with your people and face Qibla in your homes and uphold the contact prayers, okay, and give good news to the faithful. So this is who these people were. According to the time, according to prejudice, according to tribalism, according to racism, these things were pinned through. They didn't like these things, they changed it. Okay? Now you see what he says now. Moses had it. Okay? Moses had it. So he was frustrated. And Moses said, our Lord, indeed you have given Pharaoh and his people vanity and wealth in this worldly life. Our Lord, they use it to divert from your path. That's exactly what's happening in front of our eyes. Okay? God says, I've given them money and sons. The sons, the shortest one is 6'2". Okay? The tallest one, 6'7", 6'8". Money is all over the place. They're drowning in money. Okay? Says that Moses said, our Lord, indeed you have given Pharaoh and his people vanity and wealth in this worldly life. Our Lord, they use it to divert from your path. That's exactly what they're doing. They are bringing division amongst people. They are trying to say that God that they have is not the same God that you have. Okay, this was copied from this and this was copied from that. Okay, without even thinking. And they are bringing a lot of people on board, people who are ignorant of these facts, that they don't know the fundamentals of this. Okay? Now see what God says. He said, I have answered the call from the two of you. That's it. Okay? Well, we ask God and it doesn't help us. This one was a sincere man. He was a man of God. Were you a sincere person when you asked that? These people who were giving up everything to spread God's message, they didn't care. Are you like that? Were you like that when you asked God that He didn't answer you? Even when Iblis asked, he said, give me a respite until the day of judgment. Okay, you have it. Here you go. Okay. Remember what Jacob said to his sons? He says, I know of God something you do not know. He knew that he was going to meet Joseph. And he was complaining to God. And his sons, the other sons, you're mad. Okay? He says, I know something of God you do not know. These people knew something from God that we don't know. We're still struggling. We still have doubts in our hearts that He's going to respond to us or not. Okay? Just one simple statement. Okay? They had it. Okay? Both Moses and Aaron, they had it. Look at this guy. Okay? This is a story that, I don't know, historical thing, has 67 children. Okay? That's what Pharaoh did. Okay? And he had money, to the beyond the dream of anybody. He had wealth beyond the dream of anybody. Even remember that Harun guy, the slave driver? Okay? Said that the keys of his treasures could not be lifted by the strongest men. But here it says, look, please help us. Okay? Make our frustration go away. And that's exactly what God said. He said, I have answered the call from the two of you. Therefore you shall both be stern and do not follow the path of those who have not attained knowledge. See that? Okay. Do not follow the path of those who have not attained knowledge. Ask for reasons, ask for evidence. When somebody tells you something, verify it. That's your task. So I have given you the eyesight, the hearing, and the brain, and you are responsible for using them. Don't just follow for every person who's coming here, those who have not attained knowledge. Means that this group of people with Moses, they have attained knowledge. They knew it. Okay. So this is who God is. This is how kind and merciful and generous He is. He answers. Remember 2:186? Okay. When my servant asks you about me, tell him who I am. Tell him I respond to the caller of the caller when he calls. Okay. Then God said they shall respond to me. Okay. We have to respond to God in kind, in exchange of this thing, this close relation that we want to attain with God. We have to respond to Him the same way He responds to us. Okay. We cannot turn around and, so to speak, stab him in the back, betray him. We can't do that. That is not a relation which is fair. Let's put it that way. Okay. So, again, as I said, we read these verses, we pass by them, and we don't pay attention. But this is who God is. Okay. He's kind, generous, understanding. Okay. He goes along with us, with our wishes. That's what God says here. Okay. This guy is finished. Pharaoh is finished. Okay. And that's exactly what happened to Pharaoh and his people. But the thing is that we have to put our trust in God. That's what God says at the very beginning. Okay? As I said that phrase again, okay, which is the national motto of this country. Okay? In God we trust. Has been mentioned twice in the Quran. This is one which is referring to the children of Israel. Okay? And the time of Moses, which is 3,700 years ago. Hear me, okay? 3,700 years ago, not 1,400. Okay? The people who penned that thing in the Wikipedia, okay, those people didn't want to say this, that this phrase is coming from the Quran. They did at the beginning. And then the prejudices came in. Oh, come on, we can't do that. We cannot say this is exactly word for word from the Quran. We have to change it a little bit, massage it just a little bit, so it wouldn't look that bad. Okay? Then they have a quote from Ramaswamy at the end to sort of justify this, that, yeah, the saying of Ramaswamy is just as good as this, as good, maybe even better than the Quran. Okay. So this is the world that we are living in. And God says that, but he insists upon, okay, perfecting his light. No matter how hard they try. Okay. God says, in spite of disbelievers, in spite of the idol worshippers or those people who set up partners for God. They may not like it. And they don't. They don't like it. Okay. And that's exactly what has kept the greenback as the currency of the world. Okay. That phrase. Because that phrase comes from a narration from God. Okay. And that is the truth. And that's what he keeps it. Okay. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to finish this.